What's up, everybody? It's Tuesday morning, and here's another episode of Sports Spectrum with Tuesday Morning Running Back here with Jason Romano and myself, Matt Forte. And this time we're going to do something a little different.
Yeah.
Instead of our normal weekend recap, we're going to dive into a topic a lot deeper because last week, what we learned from church was a passage out of Genesis chapter 18 with Abraham and Sarah and how service is so important. And we want to kind of draw a context to that. Specifically, I want to speak towards my NFL mates, my
Yes.
teammates and my former teammates and those current players as well about service and how important that is and how we can understand why that's important in our lives.
Yeah, I love this topic, Matt. When you hit me up on text to say I want to talk about serving, because we threw a couple other ideas out there, and then we'll get to maybe some of those other ideas. And real quick, if you have an idea, the listener, on what you want us to talk about, please hit us up on social media, or you can email me, jason@sportspectrum.com. We'd love to hear from you. But this topic of serving, I was thinking about it because, Jesus clearly lays out the idea that if you don't serve others, you're missing it as a
Mhm.
believer. I mean, he even says, Matthew 20:28 and Mark 10:45, for the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and give his life as a ransom for many. So Jesus, who is the King of Kings, literally took the posture of a servant. So that's what we're supposed to do. But you just mentioned it. Talk to your NFL brethren, the athletes, the people who, because I wonder, you guys are served by so many. Like they have everything ready for you, whether it's practices, meals, the getting all your uniforms ready. So many people that are serving in essence you. How hard is it for athletes to kind of then turn around and say, wait, I have to humble myself and be a servant here?
Yeah, well, God gives grace to the humble and
Yes.
opposes the proud. And one thing that we got to understand or dive deeper into that is that in service, when you serve and you're doing, service acts or you do something out of, goodwill and you shed grace and give mercy to someone else, it requires you to be humble. You can't pridefully serve in its authentic form.
Right.
You can't, it's just, they're total opposite. And then also it just reaffirms the whole message of the gospel that by grace we've been saved through faith, like having the faith that God has graciously given his life for us to free us of our bondage of sin is good. But the thing that is difficult, I'd say for my brethren, is that we are served continually. When you come into the facility, someone has cleaned your stuff, they've hung up your pads, they prepare your meals, the meeting room is vacuumed and cleaned, and everything is literally set up for you. So you're served continually on that type of basis where it's bleeding and has bled, long ago into the college ranks as well because they want recruits to come to their school. So what
Right.
do? They serve them, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So and it could even be into high school now, where just because you may go to a big high school or one that's more known or have notoriety at that age. So if you think about from teens into your 20s and 30s, that you're just being served in this aspect. You show up, the plane is already ready. You get on the plane, there's snacks and food and all, like you're just living this lifestyle that comes with the game that can allow you to be numb towards you serving others, which is your main goal and the main point and purpose of your life. It's not about you. And so that's one of the temptations that's difficult to fight as an NFL player or a professional athlete in general. And as a former professional athlete, I see that, and it can numb you from wanting to serve, and also understanding that you're here on this earth to serve others. Your main goal and purpose is not to, as we talk about identity, just be what you do. But the way that the Lord has made us, when it comes to, like, I guess even in transition out of doing something that you've done your entire life, whether you're a CEO of a company or you built a business, it comes down to what is fulfilling. When you serve, that's what fulfills you the most. It's
Mm.
funny because you don't realize it until you do it, and after you served in a capacity that's you've given of yourself to something without compensation back or without expecting anything back, it fulfills you in your soul. where nothing else of this world, the temporal things can fulfill you. And that's why God has created. It's to just to glorify him through service.
Yeah, it makes me think of when so athletes, if they buy into a system really well, right? If they buy into a team aspect really well, you have to sacrifice and serve your teammates, right? You might not get the ball every down, but you still have to be bought in to make sure you're blocking properly or make sure you know the play to be a decoy or whatever that might look like. You have to do that to be ready and serve on the field. And most guys don't have a problem with that. So, what is the problem when we're asking you away from the field when everybody is serving you, like you said, and when you come in to then humble yourself? Is it pride? Is that really what the root of this is coming to when people have a hard time struggling with, serving others?
I think it is. I think it is pride. And pride is at the root and the heart of all sin, if you think about it. It's a
Yeah.
selfish choice that you decide to serve yourself and what you feel or you feel that you need over what God is calling you or to do or what you really should do. And not saying that you should neglect everything that you have or neglect your own needs and those things like that. But pride is the heart of sin, where because we live in a selfish culture. I can remember back in the day where you go to your neighbor's house and say, hey, let me borrow some sugar, let me borrow this, or borrow your lawnmower, whatever. You knock on somebody's door today, it might be a 50-50 chance you might get shot.
Yeah,
And so
sadly.
it's
Yeah.
it's not a friendly type of culture anymore, so to speak, where there's not a lot of um, the service isn't highlighted. Like even in the media, it's not highlighted that much. It's a lot of negativity, things that's clickbait, and that will get people's attention for being negative. But when people are doing great things, serving in other aspects, it is contagious. So I just pray that it continues to catch hold and become more. But even within it, it's so subtle that pride can even be within that. Like I've seen where people like to jump on the bandwagon. So if there's a guy who started a foundation, he's doing this great work. Maybe he's doing stuff in Africa and all kind of stuff. Other guys are like, man, they become envious. I want to do that. So out of their own pride, they want to do something because of the attention that
Yeah.
the other person is getting. And it's like, man, when something pricks your heart, serve in that capacity because you're passionate about it. And there's a reason God has made you passionate about whatever it is. Don't do it because, oh, I want the attention that comes from it because of the notoriety. Oh, the Walter Payton Man of the Year award. Because of my service, I can win this award. It's not about the award because when it's all said and done and everybody has the same fate where you're going to pass away at some point, that award is going to sit on the shelf and collect dust, or it's just going to be thrown in some closet somewhere.
Yep.
So, my thing, the goal is to serve authentically and good enough to where I'm not trying to earn something, but at the end of my life, I get to hear those words, well done, good and faithful servant. That's
Well,
all I want to hear.
totally. And Jesus warns of that, right? In Matthew 6:1, he says, be careful not to practice your righteousness in front of others to be seen by them.
Mhm.
And this is all levels. I think it's the same with giving too. And we'll have a conversation, I think, deeper on giving at some point. But when we give, Bible says give with a cheerful heart. Paul talks about giving it with a cheerful heart. And that means don't do it for pride or for recognition. Do it because you want to give. And I think giving and serving are sort of first cousins in many ways of how we're supposed to live our lives as followers of Jesus. And the serving aspect, even when you're serving and you feel like you're doing good things, if you're serving with the wrong heart, it's a dangerous place to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a heart posture, right? It's so funny how serving and giving are kind of in the same tone of the heart posture. And
Totally.
like if you're giving to something expecting something in return, that's not giving. That's an investment. That's a
Right.
return on investment. That's a ROI. When you serve in a capacity to say, well, people are going to notice me for serving, or I'm gonna when I serve this area or this issue or this problem, and in return, that person is indebted to me. Like that's trying to invest in something, and it's okay to invest in people. It's okay to invest in a good cause, but your service should be authentic in nature, where you're not expecting or want anything in return, really. Um, and I think that's an important thing. Is your heart posture. There's a verse, and I'm going to loosely quote it, so don't take it for granted. But the main issue or the main point of it is that the at the heart of it, it's with God's character, and it says that when we care for the least of these, or the homeless, or the
The
widow
widows and orphans. Yeah.
and orphans, that you you loan, it's like lending to God. And I think that's funny. It's like we in English we have to use that in the English language, because like God needs anything from us. Like we're loaning to God. Like there's nothing that He needs from us, or could ever even say, I need you to do. Like He can do it on His own, but He wants us to be involved.
Yes.
So loaning, like lending to God, yet as in the church they always say you can't outgive God. And so that's the crazy thing about it. It's like we think that, man, if we sacrificially give of ourselves, financially, or your time, which time is more valuable than money,
Yep.
um, when we sacrificially do that, there's no way that God will not uh, recompense that and supply all your needs. And it's not going to be in the way that we think, and that's why pride blinds us from the truth of the nature of giving, and the nature of giving of yourself, which is service, and the high calling that is. And it's so funny. That's why it's a rare thing, and it's people shine and stand out when it's an authentic way that they give of themselves. Many different leaders that have walked this earth, that truly gave of their life, gave of their time, and they dedicated their life to certain things. Their legacy stands beyond their life, and continues to go. And that wasn't even their point. They weren't like, I want to create this giant, great legacy that I'm going to live forever as far as my name. It was, man, I want to do what God is asking me to do while the time I have to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so hard to, I think, just where we are in America, where serving others, how do you know, and how do you know that you've served enough too? I get people asking me that. Well, I haven't given it a lot of my time, or I haven't I'm giving money, but I feel like I haven't done enough. And I'm like, is it ever enough? Like, you just got to kind of put your head down and you do what you can when you can with what you have, and then let the Lord do the rest. But if everybody had that mindset, you wouldn't have to serve or worry about a certain amount of hours or time or money that you put into what you're doing. You just do it. And if everybody, like you said, people knocked on doors and said, hey, can I borrow a gallon of milk? Yeah, have it, take it, it's yours. And if everybody got this mindset, I'm speaking to Christians here, can you imagine what that would look like? And I would even say, if you go deeper into the area of sports and athletes like yourself, what a mindset shift what an impact on the kingdom that could have.
Yeah, because stadiums are mostly in, um, you know, downtown areas like that. And you think about the community that is affected by the games and the things that you uh, do at the stadium. If you could serve in a capacity, you could change neighborhoods, you could change communities, which will change the state, which will change the nation, right? It has a ripple effect, as you preached on it a while ago. It has a ripple effect that is beneficial to
Yeah.
all people.
Yes.
And um, I mean, just there's so many verses in scripture that talk about that. Like, and it talks about not just serving people that are servable, or loving people that are lovable, right? It talks about the enemy, it talks about serving your enemy, and it heaps, coals on his head, or serving your enemy in a way where if they hit you on one cheek, turn the other cheek, give them that one too.
Yeah.
And if he asks for, a shirt, give him your coat. If you got an extra one, give him that coat too, and keep him warm. So um, it goes up back to even James, Jesus' half brother, when he's convicting us in that whole book, which is one of my favorite, because he's to the point.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like, what good is it to say you have faith, or someone says they need something from you, and you have the capacity to give it to them, and they're like, man, be warm, be well, have your stomach filled. I pray that that happens for you. It's like you got the capacity to do it. Give it to them, and
It's sacrifice, right? Like we
yeah.
run into that. I've done that where it's like I want to give and I want to serve, but only to a certain point. And if it's a deeper level where it's going to cost me something, sometimes I might sway back a little bit. And
Well, I'm gonna answer the question to you. Like, when is it enough?
yeah,
When we're gone. Like
right.
our time on Earth. Like, think about it. Your time here, you can do a lot of things to shorten your time. There's a lot of things you can do to shorten it. But your time, literally, as a Christ follower, as a human being, your time is tied to your purpose. So the
Mm,
longer you're like, God has a purpose for you, and when it's ran its course, and you continue to daily, and it doesn't matter the amount of what you do per day. Like, oh, you save 50 people, you help save 50 people, or bring 50 people to Christ today, and oh, only 10 that. Man, if you talk to one person a day, like, that's enough. Or if you
yeah.
just, even if they rejected it, and you tried, it's taking those steps. You're walking for, like, when we stand still, you're not moving, and
Yeah.
everything else around you is moving. So you could honestly go backwards. But when you're taking those steps each and every day going forward, that's the goal. It's the race that we're running, but it's not a sprint. It's definitely endurance wise, and our purpose and the fulfillment of our goal here on Earth is to serve at a capacity and a purpose wise that is tied to your time being here on Earth. And when that's up, that's when it's up. And that's how you live a life that, okay, I was innately super successful, and then some people feel like, oh man, I don't have a purpose, or my job is done now doing this, so like, let me retire and kick back and just relax. Like, that's not the goal.
No, I mean, Matthew 23:11, Jesus says, the greatest among you will be your servant.
Hmm.
Like the idea, if we want to be great in the kingdom of God, we got to serve and serve sacrificially, and it's great. Give some money, start a foundation. Like those are good things. And you do that, Matt. So that I'm not clearly knocking any of that. I think it's awesome, but it's got to cost you something. And I think, and Jesus is saying here, if you want to be great in my kingdom, you better serve or else. Like I can almost, it doesn't say or else, but I can almost hear him saying like, or else. Like you got to be great. If you want to be great, you got to serve. And yeah, I just think it's such a great mindset to be reminded of. Um, but I think it's really hard, not just for athletes
Yeah.
and people who are, super successful in the eyes of what this country would call success. But man, if you're making a regular, working a regular job and making a decent amount of money and, taking care of your family, you're already one of the, what is it, like 90th percentile of richest people in the world
Hmm.
compared to that's why it's so great to take missions trips. But to be great, you got to serve.
Yeah. I think something too. I want to talk to the athletes again too about this aspect of serving out of your weakness. Some of the greatest stories came from people who they have a passion about something, and it like pricked their heart. Something happened, and they say, you know what, I'm gonna serve to help this, issue. And
Mm,
they're like, I don't know, I don't have a clue what I'm doing, but I'm gonna help in this, and they figure it out. Like, God ain't gonna ever show you the full plan. He's gonna put inside of you some kind of, you know, compassion or passion about some kind of issue, and you just go and try your hardest, and then you figure he aligns you to figure it out, because man, we like to serve out of our strength, but it's really out of weakness, and that's the hardest thing to grasp, because we do everything from strength. It's,
yeah.
you don't have a weakness, or you work on those weaknesses in your game and all that. But honestly, when it comes to the kingdom of God, serving and operating out of weakness, God loves that,
Hmm.
because it gives him not only the opportunity, but he loves to show what he can do through weakness. We're all super weak. As strong as we think we are, we're weak, and he can literally take our weaknesses and perfect it. His strength is made perfect in our weakness.
Yeah. How it's got to be so hard for an athlete too, I think, just because the mindset is not to be weak. and not to show weakness. If you show weakness on the field, Matt, you're in trouble, right? Like that's what they
Yeah,
say. If you show your flaws, you're going to be exploited. And I got to imagine for you, on your journey, not just as a football player, because it's also another thing where everybody's cheering you on and you're the greatest. And if they watch you, if you go to a Chicago mall and you help, get presents for kids in need, like that's great. But a lot of them know you. I got to imagine there's a mindset to where you go to another country and you serve, like both of us have. They don't know you from me. Like they don't know anybody. They just know you're there. You're a stranger, but I'm here to welcome you. And I'm grateful, speaking for the people that are in the other country, for you to come out and serve. And I got to imagine those are where, when you're not recognized for what you're doing, but you're just there, and that person, that one person, is just grateful to see you. Like that's a game changer, and it's so hard, I think, for us to get a hold of that.
yeah, yes, it is. It is because we live in a self-serving culture, and
Yeah,
there's a lot of temptations around, scraping and scrapping to do and to get what you can while you can, and that's a terrible way to live. There's a lot of grace and mercy out there that God gives us to be able to live a less anxious life about what can I get next.
well, let me
And
balance. Let me ask you, because you went through like contract situations in Chicago real quick, and maybe this is where we land the plane. How did you balance like the idea of being paid and compensated properly for what you deserved in the eyes of a football player
yeah,
versus not letting that get to the point where you're like, wait a
yeah,
minute here, this is going to get to my brain, this is going to get to my heart, and now the ego side of things is getting in the way.
I think that was the main lesson God was teaching me at the time, was that you don't deserve anything. It's like at the grand scale of things, we go back to in the beginning of humanity with Adam and Eve. Because of sin, we deserve death. That's it. And it may sound morbid or something like that, but honestly, you know, the wages of sin is death. So I can't save myself. I'm not good enough to earn my way. I can't. I'm not. I can't live a perfect life. I've already messed up. You're born into sin,
Yeah,
so I don't deserve anything, right? And there's always been God placing providentially people and opportunities in front of me to make my way through life and be successful. And if you look at that, I don't deserve that because I didn't create those own opportunities. I didn't make my own talent to play football, right? So I don't deserve anything. So uh, I actually spoke about this in depth in my book that's coming out, Stay in the Game,
yeah.
because I think
Coming in
it's so
October, by
important.
the way, in October.
Because I think it's so important to understand that you can comparison kills your own joy. When you compare whatever you have to other people and what they got because you think you earned it or you deserve it, it kills your joy. But then also you gotta understand, you gotta humble yourself. You don't deserve anything. Everything is a blessing from God. Every breath you take is a blessing from God. So when it comes down to it, when you follow God's plan for your life and you're obedient and you submit, now we're gonna mess up, obviously, but when you submit your own will to following God's will, you're gonna get everything God has for you, and you have to be okay with if it's this much, this much, or this much,
Yeah,
because He knows you better than you. He knows your capacity, and it's honestly a blessing if He doesn't give you this giant, whatever it is that you think you want, because it may destroy you at the end of the day. And He's like, you know what? If I bless them with a $1 billion contract, he would have destroyed his own life and his family and everything else, or it could have destroyed the people that are coming after you, right? Not coming after you, but like those in your line of your family that are coming after you.
yeah,
And uh, so he knows our capacity better than we do, and every good and perfect gift, right? It comes from the Lord, and it says good and perfect gift on purpose. The gift is good, but it's the perfect gift, right? You ever got a gift that you were like, man, this is cool, but I don't need this or I don't want this.
sure.
But it's a good and perfect gift that God gives us.
Yeah, praise God for that. So I think it's a great place to land the plane. I like doing these, Matt. I'm glad we're doing this today on the Tuesday morning running back edition of Sports Spectrum podcast with Matt Forte. And hey, man, have a great rest of your week. We got a great conversation coming up on Friday with Ben Roethlisberger, Pittsburgh Steelers legend. So we got some pretty awesome stuff happening. The rest of this summer, some great guests, and football is right around the corner. Training camp is like in a week or so. It's crazy.
Yes, sir. Football. Here we go.
Let's go. Hey, thanks for being here, Matt. Thanks for everybody for listening. We'll see you guys next time here on Sports Spectrum's podcast.